Welcome, everybody. This is Corridor Conversations on June 28th. It's almost July, almost impossible. For those of you who haven't joined us before, Corridor Conversation is a group effort by Hyattsville Aging in Place, University Park Helping Hands, College Park Neighbors Helping Neighbors, and Explorations on Aging in College Park. And we started this in the pandemic for education, and so we can get together and maintain connections. And we've had a really wonderful series of events that I encourage you to check out. On your registration there, it lists all from Hyattsville Aging in Place. It lists all of the previous topics that you can continue to watch. So today we are welcoming Heidi Weber. Heidi is recently retired she was a senior director in IT in e-commerce and IT for a large paper company. And I never remember if I can tell you who that was.
You
So
can.
anyway, she's recently joined Explorations on Aging. She has done this talk in several places, and I think you'll find it very, very helpful. It's not your usual, don't answer that phone, don't click on that message. She goes deeper into scamming, particularly for seniors. We are quite a target these days. The scammers are a business now. They're very sophisticated. It's very easy to get caught up and trapped. So Heidi will talk about how to identify this, how to combat it, what to do if you are scammed, what resources are out there. So if you would hold your questions if you can till the end. If it's something that you don't understand about what she is saying right now, raise your hand or put something in the chat, and Lisa and I will try and get that to Heidi's attention. Okay, Heidi, take it away.
Thank you, Marianne, and thanks everybody for coming. Gonna kick right into it here. So, the most common types of scans for individuals, because what makes the press is when a large business is hacked, right? What doesn't make the press very often are the types of scams that affect individual people every single day, and a lot of times are exactly the type of scams that help a hacker get into a company even. So the most common that you'll see are donation requests where they're pretending to be either a legitimate or a fake charity requesting money. Relatives, people pretending to be relatives, often at your age, a grandchild in trouble needs money for college tuition, college books. I need it, or I'm not going to make, I'm not going to be able to enroll this year. Tech support. You see a lot of flashing on your computer, pretending to be a computer expert, offering technical support because you have a problem right now, and devices and personal information with your network. Retail, just the scam of paying for a product that you're never ever going to receive, right? It's never actually delivered. Deliveries themselves claims to have a package for you. They just need the additional information for it. Investments, especially right now, that I probably receive 10 a day about if I invest in this kind of cyber currency right now, I'm going to be a millionaire by next week. You see a lot of that. You see it in other businesses as well, but cyber currency, especially right now. And blackmail, threats to release personal information, or they're going to say something embarrassing about you or publish a video that they swear they have of you doing something embarrassing. And then personal connections. They claim to be romantically interested or a friend with common likes and dislikes and ask for money or loans after a certain amount of time of getting to know them. This one's particularly popular in online games, even the most benign of all online games like spades or euchre or even card games. It's not only the massive online games that you think of for kids. Anything that has a chat has the opportunity to have that personal connection style of scam. So how to identify a scam is the most important in urgency. The more urgent they make it, the less likely it is to be real. I can't stress this enough. You'll see I stress it again in this list. But when things are really wrong, um, or there is time to make an investment, or they want you to sign a new loan document, it is not urgent. Nobody has ever gotten a hold of you and said, if you don't sign this right now, we're taking your house, and actually been from a bank. There's always a time period, etc. So the more urgent they make something seem, the less likely it is real. Financial requests by cash or wire transfer, or a money transfer app such as Venmo, PayPal, crypto, or gift cards. That is not, you notice what's missing here. I should back that up a little bit. What's missing from this financial request is credit cards. If something is asked for on a credit card, you always have a way to go for a chargeback. There is always a history of that payment being made. There is something that can be addressed by the financial institutions to help you get your money back. But when they're made by cash or wire transfer, once that transfer is gone, it's gone. It's over. That is same with crypto or gift cards. Once you've handed those over or you've paid that, it is gone forever. When it comes to money transfer apps, like Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, Zelle, those, only Venmo and PayPal have an option for goods and services. That goods and services option does protect your payment. Anytime a company would ask you to, oh, please don't use goods and service because we have to pay a service charge. Flag, heads up about that. Red flag should go off. Make sure you really know them and trust them before you're willing to do something without making goods and services. And I call this one out a little specially because I do know a lot of small businesses like landscapers, etc., do use Venmo and PayPal, do ask you not to do goods and services because they can't afford the charges. They're very small businesses. And if it is the gentleman that's standing in your yard that just mowed it and your mowing is done, that's fine. If it's the guy that says he's going to come back next week with his lawnmower, don't be willing to pay in advance for things like that. So just put an extra little asterisk of caution on that. If the dealer offer seems to be good to be true, the cliche is what the cliche is always bad. If it's too good to be true, it probably isn't. And if you don't have a relationship with the business, the person speaking to you, or the phone number, watch what they're trying to offer you. Much more, be much more cautious than obviously if it is somebody you absolutely know. And by absolutely know and trust, I mean you are willing to give them your credit card and send them to the store and expect them only to buy the gallon of milk that you asked for. If you don't trust them that much, then be cautious. There's very, very good chance there is a scam involved. They're requesting you to reveal credit card information, address information, password information by phone or by following a link. Virtually no place actually asks you to do that by phone or by following a link. That is usually about you being the one initiating it. Issuing credit card information on a website where you are the one who decided to visit is completely different than getting an email saying, hey, we need you to re-enter your credit card information. That is not how that is done. And again, urgency. The more urgent they make it, the less likely it is real. Everything I just mentioned, likely that email or phone call tells you have till the end of the day, you have an hour. You have, it's almost always 24 hours or less. Be very cautious of that. No place should ask you for the secure code by phone. So, when you get that extra security code going on, nobody should be asking for you to reveal that code to you. If a place is not willing to provide you a callback number, if they make all kinds of excuses about it, it is likely a scam. Now, if they say something legitimate, like I can provide a callback number, but it's our 800 number, you won't necessarily reach me as an actual operator, but they can provide a working callback number that you can call back to. By all means, call back. You don't necessarily need to get exactly the same person. But if they're not willing to provide a callback number at all, it is likely a scam. And then, of course, in emails and text messages, watching for those misspellings or bad grammar in communication. Also in emails, watching that the logo doesn't look quite right or it's not in the correct place. And I know some people are hesitant about this. They're like, well, I know Google has a multicolor logo, but I don't know exactly what it looks like. You would be surprised at how ingrained logos are in your head, images are in your head, and there's just something about them that doesn't look quite right. Whenever that happens, take that extra minute, pause, make sure, and do some testing on whether or not it's a scam. It's missing the standard disclaimers in an email or a text. Like, it doesn't say reply stop to no longer receive this message. There's no unsubscribe links. Those kinds of things that are in place by reputable companies. Asking questions that attempt to get you to reveal information or get you to respond yes and multiple times. If you don't already trust the company, don't reveal that information, and be careful about responding yes over and over again on a call. Some of them are very good and ask only yes, no questions. Just warning flags go up on that. The use of emojis in an email, again, while your family and friends may use emojis like crazy, you don't see a whole lot of professional emails, especially from financial institutions where they're using emojis. Make sure the emoji fits the communication. If it does not, likely a scam. And you receive communication confirming a purchase or account change request you did not make. They are dying for you to click that link and to say that you didn't make it, because once you click that link, you have started whatever scam, malware practice that they have in place at that moment. So if it's about a purchase or a charge you didn't make, stop, don't click the link. Do what you would normally do if you saw something on a credit card or out of your bank account. Confirming that a purchase has already been made is as simple as looking to see if you have a charge on your credit card or bank account where they swear that they just made that charge. There's no charge there. That's all the more reason it is absolutely a scam. And can you navigate to other areas of the site? This one's pretty popular on social media, where you'll see a Facebook ad about buy this treat for your dog, or this sweater or this great deal, and you click on the link and you're on a page that has that item that you just saw that you want to buy. Take a moment, especially when following links to companies you hadn't heard before, and go someplace else on that site. Make sure it actually is a fully working website. There are quite a bit out there where they've made something that looks like a site that is only that single page for that one shirt that you just clicked about. So follow that, and make sure that it is, in fact, a fully working website, not just one spot to put your credit card information. And again, the more urgent they make it, the less it is likely to be real. And if all of you, whether you're talking about this presentation at some other time or you're thinking about what I'm saying as we go, if you think about all the times that things were actually urgent in your life, was the person presenting it making it seem urgent, flashing things in your face, screaming over the phone about it, those kinds of things. And you'll find that most professionals that deal with urgent areas are actually incredibly calm when things need to be handled quickly. That is part of their job, and they're much more calm than what a scam is when they're being urgent. So all of those things are the warning flags, but that doesn't mean you should never click a link again in your life, never answer a phone call again in your life, et cetera, et cetera. It means red flags should go up, and you should start to go into a method of verification. So if it's something about following a link, go to the website directly. Don't follow that link, and or call the company directly to find out if whatever this email is claiming is true. You don't have to follow the link to do it. Ask for a callback number again, and then verify that number by entering in Google or calling customer service of that company. Make sure that that callback number is also real, and then proceed accordingly. Sometimes if you're computer savvy and phone savvy, you can, as they're giving you that callback number, you could be typing it into a Google browser and verifying it, in line if you want, or you can simply hang up, get ready to call back, and verify that number first. Look at the full email address of the sender. Email has evolved over time, and now what you see in most email browsers these days, email platforms, is the name that they have put. So, it says it comes from Heidi Weber, but double click that and look at the full email address. Does that make sense? Does the name that they put there match the email address? If it says it's coming from Heidi Weber and the actual email address is an email address in the Philippines, called 1234 knock, that's likely not actually from Heidi Weber. So, you'll see a lot of that where they have a persona that's showing up as the from, but when you look at the full email address, you see quite a different story. And then if you're on the phone, just interrupt the conversation a bit. If you're trying to test, like if they ask you to verify a phone number or verify an address, and you're a little hesitant about whether or not they're real, provide the wrong address or phone number. If they say, yes, that's it, then that's completely different than them saying, I'm sorry, that's not the address we have on file. That's not the phone number we have on file. So watch, you can interrupt that way simply by changing your house number by one digit. If you're really confirming with a real company, they're not confirming it that way. Ask them to leave a message. Say, I'm so sorry. I just can't talk right now. Can I have a message? I'll call you back. Interrupt that phone conversation a bit. Again, if it's really your doctor's office, it's really your credit card, they will go into detail about what they needed you for, and they'll leave that message. If it's a scam and they need you to act right now, they'll explain how they can't leave a message. They'll give all kinds of excuses. And pay by credit card. If they refuse to take a credit card in any way, shape, or form, they will only take a wire transfer. They will only take a Cash App payment. They will only take cyber currency. By all means, hang up and deal with the transaction in another way. They are likely a scam. And then there's also a website called virustotal.com. It's a free site. It's out there specifically to help reporting of scams for people. And you can either upload a file there or copy and paste a URL, and it will analyze as a potential threat. It will tell you how many people have reported this as a scam before, and all the different things that have happened with this particular address. And my advice to you is, even if it says only 3 people have reported it, consider it a scam and do not do any further information, because like any virus, like any kind of scam, nobody knows it's real until enough people have suffered from it. Think of, I like to use an annual flu shot as an example. It's a virus. And if you got the flu shot that was made for this year, next year, it's not going to combat next year's virus, because we have not yet got all the information about the latest virus. And that is true with any kind of virus reporting software, whether that's virustotal.com, Norton that you're using at home, a McAfee. If they feel that there's any chance of threat there, stop and reevaluate. And I see somebody's asked me if I can explain how to verify a phone number just by typing it in the Google search bar. If you type a phone number into the Google search bar, it's going to tell you, if it's a widely spread scam, it's going to come up as your first search result. This number is being used in X scam. Otherwise, it's going to, if it's an actual real business, it's going to default to their business. So if I put in, 800 Walmart, I don't know what the real phone number is. I'll just use it as an example. But if I type in their digits, it's going to show me that that's Walmart's phone number. If it's having a hard time finding what that number is, it's returning a lot of weird results. It's asking you if you want to do a reverse lookup. It is likely not a reputable business at all. So it's just some of the ways to look, because any reputable business, their phone number is going to come up immediately when you type it in Google, their business is. Then I have some examples here. I pulled them out of my own personal email just so people could, we could look at some, is it a real or a scam? And I started with some that are relatively obvious, right? Slots of Vegas, I'm not an online slot player. Doesn't look very real. Notice that my name is not my name. That's actually the start of my email address, HID Weber. So they don't have my real name. They are giving me member IDs. They say that I have $2,500 available. So they're trying to attract me by offering me $2,500. Notice that it's only valid until 11:59 p.m. So they have that urgency in there. I've got to click now or I'm never going to get it. All they want me to do, they have my email address and it's correct. They want me to verify it. They want me to verify my bank information so they can pay me out. So, not only is it's bringing in several of the warning symbols that we have, because for all I know, everybody on this phone call but me does in fact play slots online, and they may in fact receive an email from the slot company they play for online, but not using my real name. You'll see in here that it's actually from Sir Edward, who is a part of the Royal Secret Service. He's going to give me royal secrets to serve. So, unverifiable claims, over amount of money, and particularly urgent. This one pretty much trips every red flag that I warn about. Then you come over to something like this CVS pharmacy one. Most of you probably use CVS. Most of you have probably been asked to fill in a survey for CVS at some point. Usually when you fill in a survey, they tell you that they'll award a gift card, to a random person that fills in the survey. That's all very true and real. In fact, CVS has one going right now. So there are some things here that seem a little reasonable. But again, not using my real name here. The dollar amount, $90, not a normal gift card amount. They're normally, $25, $50, $100, $500. We don't normally give them out in $90. They tell me that there's winners already confirmed 12 minutes and 27 minutes ago. And it says 12 minutes and 27 minutes ago, no matter when I attempt to open this email and look at when they were confirmed. And again, they have their real names. They do not have mine. And of course, I can only confirm within 24 hours. I cannot do it any other way. The CVS pharmacy logo here, not bad. Fairly decent version of a stolen logo. The CVS font is right. And they do use this pixelated heart in their logo, but it is a little off. It's stretched out a bit. So again, this one has a little more believability. I may have in fact filled out a survey that offered a gift card. I do in fact do business with CVS, but also has a lot of problems. Moving over to this one, my Gmail subscription termination notice. I would bet that 99% of the people on this call do in fact have a Gmail account or something to do with Google. The thing is, you don't actually subscribe to Gmail. There's no subscription. You just start your campaign. You start your email address, and then it's yours. There is no subscription. There is no payment for the subscription. There's no renewal of a subscription, right? So again, a lot of misinformation coming in here. This does say limited time, Thursday, May 15th. By the way, I received it on Wednesday, May 14th. So again, it gave me a 24-hour notice. And again, you see a lot of other problems associated with this one. Moving on to some text message things, is this one from the USPS delivery team, unable to deliver a package because the address information wasn't complete. Want me to click this link and pass it. I know that there is a lot of people that are receiving this one right now. And there are a lot of people that shop online. So the chances that you are expecting a package at some point are pretty high. And that's what they get you on. Almost everybody's expecting some shipment at some time. And therefore letting you know that the address is wrong. But when I read it all the way, if I read all the way down and I read the instructions here, I reply yes, then I exit, then I reopen, then I activate it, then I copy and paste it into a Safari browser. And unless you're a Mac user, you don't have a Safari browser at all. And so I've done all of these things. And then if I just take a moment here, I look up and I'm like, wait a minute. The phone number they're texting me from is in the Philippines. Last time I checked, the U.S. Postal Service does not run the Postmaster General out of the Philippines. So again, halfway there, right? As everybody gets better at these things, there's a good chance I have a package waiting. There's even a chance I have the wrong address in here. But if I take a moment to read all the way through, I notice it never tells me the company. It wants me to do it right now. I don't know what's going to happen if I don't do it in the next 24 hours. They're just going to throw my stuff out, all those kinds of things. Somebody has asked me if when you click on the emails, is there a chance that you will pick up a virus on your computer? Yes. The answer is yes. There is a chance you'll pick up a virus on your computer. There is a chance that once you click on it, they're going to ask you for personal information or credit card information. They're going to take it a next step. It's nothing about a virus. Each and every one of these is slightly different on what may happen when you click on that link. And then this one, I got to be honest with you, this is the most spectacular scam email I have received recently. Any of you that deal with DocuSign, that have an account with DocuSign, or you received contracts to sign by DocuSign, you will note that this is in fact their exact logo. This is in fact exactly how an email comes from them. All of this text over here, the do not share this email, alternate signing methods, about DocuSign, all of this is exactly from DocuSign. It is dead on. The reason it is dead on is because it is actually from DocuSign. This person, Tadeo Green, has opened an account with DocuSign. They are sending it through DocuSign's actual platform. That is why everything I would normally look for, is the logo wrong, is the disclaimer information not there, etc., is here. It is actually from DocuSign. When I look at the full address that is part of this review document link, which I can't click for you in this presentation, but this address right here is absolutely a legitimate DocuSign address. It is their actual address that they use for all their emails. However, when I do click it, it tells me that the document is expired, that I needed to see it. It expired at the time that I had clicked it 24 hours ago. That is also very common. Again, anybody that uses DocuSign knows that your document is only good for a certain amount of time, and then it expires, and you get an expired message, and the message tells you to just contact the original sender and they'll resend it back to you. This is very common. Again, it's a document service that's used for all kinds of legitimate purposes. I mean, I bought my house on a DocuSign document. I click on that, the document's expired. It tells me to get a hold of Tadeo Green here. It gives me Tadeo's email address and tells me to go ahead and get a hold of him. The document expired, he can reissue it. So, but where it stopped me, what stopped me from following through with this in any other meaningful way, is what the body of the email told me. It told me that it was confirming my purchase of a McAfee license for the amount of $499, and that I did this transaction on May 14th of 2025. Well, I don't have McAfee. I've never used McAfee as my virus protection software. And it says that I paid the amount I've already paid the amount. I'm confirming the paid amount. So therefore, if I've already paid it, I had to pay it somehow. So I went and I looked at my credit card statement for the credit card that I use all the time. There was not a $499 charge. There was not a $499 charge to my checking or savings account. There was not a $499 charge to the other credit card I have that I virtually never use. So no, I did not pay $499 anyplace. So that was my first, something's wrong here. That made me stop a little bit longer, and then I went, wait, okay, Tadeo Green may in fact be a salesperson's name. That's great, but he wouldn't be using Outlook.com. They would be using McAfee.com if they were really a salesperson selling me a McAfee license or some other technology-based company that might be selling me virus software. And then lastly, once all this happens, what they really want me to do is call this phone number down here. I Googled that phone number. I saw that the phone number is in Hawaii. And it's a personal phone number in Hawaii. So again, none of this added up, and therefore I never did call the number just to see what kind of information they were trying to get from me, just so you know. But this is an excellent scam, and since I have received this particular one in May, I have received two more claiming additional things going exactly through the same thing. The documents expired. They're telling me to get a hold of the person, call them at this fake phone number to try to get information. So I don't know if anybody else has received this one, but this is a great example of how good they are getting at this. Because again, this is a legitimate DocuSign account. And when you do go to DocuSign's website, they do have warnings about people doing this right now. This one's from Microsoft. Pretty simple email. It says they received my request for a single use code, gave me my code, let me know that I needed to enter that code on the official website or app, and not to share it with anyone. Well, there's no logo, so wouldn't Microsoft have their logo? I would think so. And I didn't request the code. But on the same token, there's nothing for me to click or no phone number for me to call to use the code. There is a URL here to get to the privacy statement, but they're not giving me any direct way to use the code. In fact, it's advising me how to safely use the code, which is enter the official code on the Microsoft Outlook or on Microsoft's website or app. So this was actually real. This was a very real email. It was not a scam. But notice how I said I didn't request the code. Somebody out there was, in fact, trying to hack my Microsoft account. They were unsuccessful because they needed to enter this code. They did not get the code. I got the code to my email. So this is something to watch out for. If the email is legit about a single-use code, or the text message is legitimate about a single-use code that you did not request, there is a good chance that your account is being attacked at this particular moment. Somebody is trying to get into it. And it's a heads up to check your passwords. Make sure that your account stays secure, or notify the company that somebody is trying to get into your account that is not you. But after all that, there's still more to scams. Passwords themselves. Do not give them out to anyone you don't know and trust personally. And again, when I say trust personally, I mean, once you give somebody a password, they have access to everything that particular item has to offer them. So if you give somebody the password to your computer, they have access to everything on your computer. The password to your phone, they access to everything on your phone. When I say trust, I mean honestly trust, not I know them, my neighbor's a nice person. I mean, you would trust them to be a co-signer on your bank account, because what you just did was give them the password that has access to your bank account and many other things. So keep that in mind. And again, most reputable tech service companies, even if you go to Verizon to have them work on your phone, they usually ask you to enter your phone number. So, or I'm sorry, to enter your password. So really be careful about who you're giving that password to. Long, easy to remember passwords are in fact much better than complex passwords with combinations of characters, numbers, and capitalizations. Bill Burr, who is the gentleman who designed the entire password authentication protocol that we use today, based it on 1980s technology white paper, when these password protocols were designed in the early 2000s, late 1990s, early 2000s. What we have since learned is that they're bad. It's bad advice. Even Bill himself will say it's bad advice. So when you come up with a password that does what you think you're supposed to do, capitalization, lowercase, it's got numbers, it's got special characters, they saw that computers could hack that in about 3 days, based on AI learning, etc. It took them about 3 days to hack into that password, and then they have access to everything. However, something as simple as 4 words together, correct horse battery staple. They did not, of course, run it, but they ran models around it. They said it would take up to 550 years before a computer would successfully crack 4 basic words strung together. Now, I am well aware that almost every site you go to these days requires that your password have some capital letters, or have a number, or have a special character. What I can suggest to you is, while you can't bypass that if they require it, is to make it more like correct horse battery staple with the explanation mark at the end and a number 1 or whatever number it is you'd like to throw in there. At the end, it is much better for you to have actual words strung out into a nice long password than this kind of password that probably most of you do right now. Keeping a secure password is safer than changing it at set intervals. And that is very true. That what has come about is the more often people are asked to change the password, the more often they are likely to start writing it down, start using the same password over and over and over again so that they can remember it. So if there's no reason to change your password, you feel you have a secure password, don't change it just to change it, just because somebody once told you you should change them every 90 days. That is not necessarily true. Only change your password when it is needed to be changed or required to be changed. And the use of password managers is recommended, whether that is saving it in your Android phone and saving it in your iPhone, or one of the millions of other secure key password managers. It is better to have a password manager with all your passwords in it than to try to remember, write down, otherwise copy all the different passwords you have for all the different sites for all the very obvious reasons. You will forget them. You will forget to copy them down. If there's a piece of paper sitting on your desk that has all your passwords on it, and somebody is around in your home that isn't particularly trustworthy, whatever, for whatever reason that may be, there it is. It's right there for them to copy down. So just keep that in mind and try to keep your passwords something you can remember. Check whitewashing. I would love to tell everybody on this call never to write another check by hand again in their lives. There's absolutely no reason for it. And absolutely none of you who write checks by hand every day of your lives are going to listen to me. So I will ask you to only pay by check when absolutely necessary. If at all possible, use your banking services process check in lieu of handwriting the checks. The reason for that is it is confirmed then. The second you say, pay ABC Landscaping $50 and you do it online, if anybody steals that check in the meantime and changes it to $50,000, the bank is responsible for the other $49,950. You are only responsible for the $50. However, if it was a handwritten check and they managed to change it to $50,000, you are responsible for all $50,000 you wrote the check. That is a big difference between a handwritten check and a bank-issued check. When you're mailing a check, place it directly in a USPS mailbox. Try not to leave it, dangling out of your mailbox for the U.S. Post Office to pick up when he delivers your mail. You want to try to get it in as secure an environment as possible. Yes, I understand that people do, in fact, break into actual mailboxes, but that's far less likely than somebody that just walks down the street and grabs things out of personal mailboxes. And then last but not least is use a gel pen when writing a handwritten check. Regular ballpoint ink is easily removed from a check using acetone, simple nail polish remover, easily removed. Allow the check to dry and you can rewrite the check any way you want. Gel pens are not easily removed. They smear and they leave marks. So absolutely try to use a gel pen when doing this. So even if everything else failed, you wrote the check, it was stolen, everything else you did, it will not be one that somebody chooses to whitewash because the gel pen cannot be removed. So non-conventional payment methods. So again, paying with the wallet app on your phone is actually more secure than swiping your credit card. This goes against what I know a lot of people think, but it is true. Anytime you use your credit card through the app on your phone, through the wallet app on your phone, it is not transmitting your actual credit card number. It is transmitting a token code that equates to your credit card number that is only valid when associated with that phone number. That is the only way that credit card number is useful. So if somebody has put one of those credit card readers on a machine and you've swiped your credit card, they're getting your credit card number and they can go use your credit card. If you've paid with the app on your phone, when they use that number that was transmitted, it is useless. It is not able to be used at any marketing place whatsoever unless it is associated with the electronic transfer from the phone. So I do highly recommend that all of you pay with the wallet app on your phone instead of swiping your actual credit card. When using payment apps such as PayPal and Venmo, and I touched on this earlier, make sure you use the goods and services portion of that. The only time you shouldn't is if it's a person you know and trust again. Avoid using Zelle, Cash App, paying by cybercurrency, and others that do not offer this option. Every last one of them, the second you transfer that money, it is gone. There is nothing you can do to get it back short of going through an actual criminal style trial, and that would mean that they've caught the person, they actually have the ability to make restitution. So avoid using Zelle and Cash App and those that do not have that goods and services option whenever you're paying somebody that isn't a close friend or relative. QR code should absolutely always have the option of navigating to the site directly as opposed to scanning the code. Any reputable QR code always has the URL of where you're actually scanning to go right at the bottom of it. So be very cautious if you're using a QR code and you're not navigating to the site and any place that you don't visit often or that you don't know. You can have a QR code printed up on a sticker for about 10 cents. Creating a QR code is absolutely free. If anybody, when they get off this call, wants to type into Google, create QR code, you will see there's 5 million places that'll create a free QR code for you. You could print it out on a piece of sticker paper and you could put it anywhere. So, be cautious of QR codes, especially in parking garages where they just paste it all over the wall telling you that that's how you pay for parking. That is not the normal process in which this is done. So be very cautious of using QR codes if they don't also have the URL address right there and it's not the URL that you expect it to be. Under no circumstances does a reputable business, charity, financial institution, etc., ever ask you to pay by crypto or gift card. Not one, not ever. So anytime somebody asks you to do that, immediately just stop the conversation and walk away from whatever transaction you're getting ready to do. And never buy an electronic gift card for someone unless you are personally giving it as a gift. This is another very common scam you see. Unfortunately, you see this one a lot. People being taken advantage of after funerals. As all of you know, obituaries say when funerals are, they say who's passed away. You see an often time where they go out and they try to get people to say, I saw you at the funeral. I meant to give so-and-so a gift card so they could buy a meal for the family. I forgot. My credit card's recently been stolen. Can you buy the electronic gift card for me? Because again, once you've sent that electronic gift card to someone, it's gone. There's nothing you can do to get the money back. Even if you pay by a credit card will not do a chargeback on a gift card. Unless the company itself is fake. But if you bought a real gift card, the credit card company will not help you. So never buy an electronic gift card for someone unless you personally are the one giving it as a gift. And then be very cautious and verify any remote request for payment that does not accept a credit card. Almost every place that is remote, where you're paying by phone, where you're paying online, should accept a credit card. And again, credit cards are a much more secure way of paying for things. All of you know your credit card agreement says, if there's fraudulent charges, you're only liable for up to $50 is the law. So, at best you could be scammed out of $50 if they couldn't reverse the charge on the credit card. That is wholly different than being scammed out of $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. I see somebody ask me, what is a gel pen? It is a particularly kind of pen called gel pens. They're available at any place that sells ballpoint pens. You'll see it'll say right on it, gel pen. They're available blue, black, red, green, like any other pen. And they are available at every drugstore, every office supply place, any place you normally buy pens. It's just a particular kind of ink that is in them. Online relationships. I want to be very clear here. Not one single online social media provider, not one, not Facebook, not Instagram, not any of the biggest ones you guys all know and love, use or don't use, as the case may be, that your family, friends, etc. use. Not one of them require ID verification to create an account. Not one. So that means any account ever could, in fact, be fake. Be very cautious of that. If your granddaughter asks you to to follow her on Facebook, requests that you follow her on Facebook, and you think, well, that's kind of weird. I didn't even know she had a Facebook account. Don't follow the person. Don't accept the invitation, etc., until you verify it with them by phone. By no means am I saying never be friends with your family and friends on Facebook, but verify with them by phone that they really sent that to you, that you really do know them. Because absolutely anybody can create an account with no verification whatsoever. All they need is an email address. Anybody can create a free email address. So be very cautious of that. Most online dating apps do not require ID verification either. So in an environment where the whole point is to personally get together with somebody and, get into an intimate relationship, They don't require ID verification, none whatsoever. Again, if you don't know if you don't have a way to verify with these people that they are who they are, be very cautious of who that is, because the companies that have run these sites are not verifying for you. If you start talking to somebody socially online, watch for things like too much agreement, vague answers to your questions, or always answering a question with a question, or answering a little too quickly. So if you start off, you're playing a game with somebody and they're going back and forth, then you can watch for a credit, and you ask them, hey, what's your favorite kind of music? And they say stuff like, oh, I love all music. What's your favorite kind? And they never actually answer, right? Or everything you say you love. I love walking on the beach and sunsets, and I love walking on the beach and sunsets too. Well, that's probably true. Most people do like walking on the beach and sunsets. If you see that everything about you, they like the same thing as you like, that is highly unlikely. No offense to all of you and what you like, but that's just not how the world goes. And agreeing with absolutely everything you say and do should be a big red flag, as well as just not answering. Are all their images staged and lacking candid shots with others? Like if every picture they have posted on their Facebook page, or possibly on a dating app or on an Instagram, is just them alone in some environment. They're standing in front of a tree. There's no other people ever in that. And it's always staged. It's never the candid photo of eating the ice cream cone, or, all the different things that all of us really do post about our lives. Again, another red flag that it may be a fake account. And they're always traveling or far away from you. Like every time you say, well, I'd like to meet in person before we go any further, before we talk anymore. Oh, I'm out of town that weekend. Or, oh, I'd love to too, but I'm down at my parents' house and they live in Richmond. All kinds of things that go on there, right? Like that's another red flag. But be careful if they want you to come to them. They don't want to meet you at a local restaurant. They don't want to meet you at a mall. They don't want to meet you someplace private. And they don't want to come towards your direction. They only want you to come to them. Again, that's likely a scam. That's likely a scam being set up for more of a physical style of theft, but it is still likely a scam. They refuse to do a video chat, or they cancel all video chats. Again, there's much more likely they're real if they're willing to do video like this and wave and, show you that they're a real person. If they refuse to ever do video, they only ever want to talk by text, etc. Another big red flag. And they always relate your conversation via stories of family and friends. Again, everything you do, they have a family or friend that did it too. It's just not likely. Be careful of that. They're trying to make it seem like they're willing to tell you more about their wider circle, while at the same time not telling you anything more about themselves, as well as inconsistencies in the conversational path. This one's pretty common. I love jazz music. I love jazz music too. Great. 3 months later, you say something about jazz music and they say, oh, well, I've never listened to jazz. And you'll see those inconsistencies coming up, especially in association with the too much agreement, right? If they're agreeing to everything you say, they're not really paying attention to what they agree to, and then it becomes inconsistent further on. I've been asked if I feel the same thing about using the chip on a credit card is as bad as swiping. It's not quite as bad as swiping, but it's almost as bad as swiping, because again, it transfers your real credit card number. So anybody that would happen to have hacked into that terminal where you're processing your credit card at that time would in fact have your real credit card number, even if you're using the chip. So everybody swears that they're too smart to be hacked, that they're not the ones, right, that fall for a scam, that it's somebody else. The FBI reports that those age 60 and older suffered 3.4 billion. That is billion with a B. I did not mistype it. I didn't use the wrong hand. It is 3.4 billion. That's just people over the age of 60. And again, people, not businesses, actual human beings, individuals over the age of 60, $3.4 billion in losses in 2023 alone. The 2024 numbers aren't out yet. That's why I'm quoting a couple of years back. But that comes to, and then a lot of people say, well, it's just seniors. Seniors are the targets. et cetera, et cetera, right? Total of 12.5 billion in losses for U.S. residents alone, again in 2023. So 3.4 billion were seniors. The other 9 billion was not seniors. Seniors are not the only ones who fall for scams. Everybody falls for them. They are very good. They are out there. It is what these people do for a living. I want you to remember this. This is how they are paying their housing, their housing. So they're paying for their kids' food, etc. They're doing it for a living. They are stealing for a living. They are good at it, like most people that do things for a living. But think about that: $12.5 billion. Again, that is just to individuals. That is not how much is lost by businesses in a single year. So if you've fallen for a scam, now what? Now what do I do? I've done it. I know I've been scammed. What do I do? So if what has happened is your device has been hacked or it has a virus, like you realize that that's what happened in the scam, get your device offline immediately. This includes both internet, Wi-Fi, and cellular data. If it's a phone or a tablet that has cellular data, get it offline. Whether that means putting it in airplane mode will get it out of cellular distance, but you still have to get it off Wi-Fi. You have to turn off the Wi-Fi on it. Because anybody that's hacked into your computer, the only use to them is being able to download the information that they want from your computer, whatever they're trying to get to, and they can only do that if it's connected to the internet. So the second you get it offline, they can no longer get that information. Very next thing is consult a professional who can scan that device for threats. I've listed some, relatively well-known national places here. I'm not saying they're better than a local guy that does technology, just trying to give some big names out here in this area like Micro Center, Best Buy, and Apple stores. But make sure you have a professional scan that device for threats and get anything that was put on there as part of that hacking or virus off. I understand that many people think that people like me who give these virus talks every day and work in IT, or their grandkids who are much better at computers than they are just as good at getting rid of a virus. We're not. It is not what we do for a living, and we do not have the correct software or equipment necessarily to get a virus fully off your computer. Please consult a professional if, in fact, you know that your device has been hacked or has a virus. If you've provided bank or credit card information, obviously call the issuing institution immediately and notify them of the issue, and change any passwords associated with those accounts at that time. If it was credit card information, especially, notify all 3 credit bureaus of the hack that happened so that they can put a watch out on there. And then also go ahead and file a police report with the local police. While the police aren't necessarily going to be able to do anything for you the way people think of it, like they can't walk off and find the criminal that got into your computer or that gave you a call, do file that police report. All of that helps locate those people that are doing the massive national-wide scams. If you provided personal identification information, such as your social security number, etc., you want to report that to identitytheft.gov. It is run by the federal government. It's a department of the FTC, and they will actually map the next steps out for you. You'll be assigned a case manager who will walk through all the things that need to be done to ensure that personal identification information does not result in fake passports or credit theft for you. And they'll do things like notifying the credit bureaus with you, as well as considering adding a credit freeze. They'll tell you the best way to word your file with your police report with your local police. And then you'll also want to check your credit report often. But the FTC may have you do additional things. They may have you notify the Social Security Administration, depending on what information you gave. They may have you contact the business or the entity that has the account in which you are not familiar. A lot of times people don't realize that their identity was stolen until all of a sudden Pepco calls you and you find out that somebody took out a utility in your name and you owe $7,000 in back electric, as an example. of things that happen. So, you know, a lot of times they'll work with you to get to contact that utility to show that this was not you, not your place of residence. And sometimes it'll have to go as far as replacing driver's license and or passports. So that is why I'm working with something like the FTC so that they can really get a case manager for you and map out those next steps to make sure you do everything that's needed for your particular kind of theft. And then I also have here listed some other resources. This is the last slide, so I'm going to leave it up here through the questions in case anybody wants to jot this number down. There's the National Elder Fraud Hotline, also operated by the federal government, and it is a hotline to provide you a case manager to help you navigate next steps. This is all different kinds of fraud, not necessarily just online style fraud that they can help you out with. There's Victim Connect. Now, Victim Connect works with all kinds of crime, again, not just cyber crime. So, you know, they go much further into other crimes that go along, but it is an 800 number. And again, they'll provide you resources and next steps of who to contact and what to do if you have been a victim of any scam. And then for identity theft reporting, there's the identitytheft.gov that I had mentioned before. And then I've just jotted down the phone numbers of the three big credit bureaus in case anybody, you know, wanted easy access to them. And that is my last slide. I'm going to go back to some questions that were asked as we go along here real quick. I was asked, is it better to tap than swipe a credit card? Again, not necessarily better at all. You're still transmitting your actual credit card number. So if you're transmitting your actual credit card number, then they are still getting your actual credit card number. Now, there are more devices that are made out there to steal numbers based on a swipe than there are based on a tap, but there are still plenty of ways to steal information based on a tap. Why do many places ask for a social security number, example, doctor's office, etc.? What happens if you refuse? Many, as far as doctor's offices, etc., they ask for it associated with tracking the insurance information, etc. Every company has a different answer if what happens to you refuse part. Some places will ask for a different way to identify you. They may ask for a copy of a driver's license or a passport instead. Other places will not continue on with the business. But if the business is not willing to answer that question for you of why they're asking for the social security number, be very leery of that business. A doctor's office can tell you exactly why they're asking for it and why they need it. And you can make a determination of whether or not that makes sense to you. Going to the federal government right now, is that likely to get a response? Is FTC still operating? The identitytheft.gov website and offices are in fact still operating. They have not, their funding has not been pulled. They are an operating business at this point. Obviously, I cannot, with any kind of certainty, tell you whether or not that's true in a week from now, a month from now, or 5 years from now. I can tell you it is true as of right now. Any other questions?
Heidi, that was terrific. I've just speaking personally, this is now my third time with this lecture. I've learned something every single time. It's just terrifying. But I think I hope you all gained a whole long litany of things to do. Just to remind you, this is being recorded. So if you want to pass this on to friends or something about by the middle of next week, or because it's a holiday next week, I'm not sure. But within the next 2 weeks, it will be up online and you can refer back to it. You can take notes from the slides. It really is such valuable information. I see 2 questions. David? You're muted. You're muted.
That was a clap, not a raised hand.
Oh, okay. Lisa, you have a raised hand.
I do. I would just say that during this conversation, as Heidi mentioned not to use Zelle, or at least to use other things, I realized I had an interaction with Zelle this morning where they stopped a transaction and I gave them my bank account number. And I'm like, oh my God, maybe they were in the Philippines. I'm going to have to call the bank and find out. So thank you very much. And oh my God, I hope they don't have my bank account.
Yeah, the biggest problem with some place like Zelle is it's not back. So, if for instance, Lisa, I got a hold of you and I said I charge, I don't know, $10,000 to speak, transfer me the money, and you transferred me, and I said I only take Zelle, and you transferred it to me, and then I never showed up to speak, you're never getting the money back, right? But if instead you had done that with a Visa card, when I didn't show up, you would notify the credit card company that you didn't receive the service that you paid for, and they would credit you back to $10,000. I mean, that's a huge difference, right? And that's
Sure.
and that's kind of what I'm warning. That's why I warn about trying, using another method, because all of us want to buy things. Sometimes we want to buy things that we think may be a little too good to be true, but maybe we want to try it anyway. If you're using a credit card, if it really was too good to be true, they make that charge back to that company and you get your money back. So
Yeah. In this case, it was, I got a notice from Zelle that they were not putting the transaction through. There was a problem with it and I'd have to do it again. And I clicked on a link that was in the email that I got. So I don't know. I mean, I really do need to follow up with my bank because who the hell? I mean, it could have been the person that answered the phone had a different accent. It was, all of it,
Right.
all of the common triggers. So here it is. I'll check it out. I'll let you know if my bank account's gone because then I'm gonna rely on all of you for some help.
We'll treat you to lunch, Lisa. Heidi, I don't know if you would recommend this, but one thing I have found helpful is I have a separate credit card that I use for online stuff, and I have limited the amount. So I can't buy anything really expensive on it. And I only use that online. So it's a good way to kind of follow.
I think there are a couple more questions. I think Bonnie's had her hand
Yeah.
up and so
Bonnie?
has Carol.
Yeah, Bonnie?
let me answer Marianne there real quick. Marianne, I recommend that to a degree. You're right? Like, but if what you're doing is using your credit card on Amazon over and over again, right? Go ahead and use your primary credit card because, I mean, it's a company you know well and trust, right? But having a separate credit card out there is to use with maybe places you don't deal with a lot, et cetera. It is a great way to track whether or not something's going on. There's no reason not to do it. But to your point, you're doing it to track because you're almost just waiting for the day that number gets stolen, right? And they couldn't have charged more than whatever, your smaller limit is on it.
That's my hope. Bonnie, you're muted. Bonnie, you're muted.
Thank you. When you go online on Google and you want to Google something, so like I went to Wolf Trap tickets, and you'll know now that you'll get like 6, 7 different things that tell you, so which is the right one, which one can you go to? And so my experience was I went to ones that said Wolf Trap at wolftrap.org, and I was told by Wolf Trap that wolftrap.org was the link to them. And then it said Ticket Center and it said all those things. And I ended up getting tickets from a second party, which charged me 3 times the cost of the ticket. I'm still trying to sort it. Heidi recommend that I call the credit card company, and they have agreed they will go after them, particularly since once you get past that, you'll see that that's not their email address at all. It's Go Tickets, it's B something something ballpark, it's lots of other things. They are now sending me several emails and text messages a day trying to get me to click to confirm those tickets. And so I have not done that, but I did call Wolf Trap. The tickets are there. They're real. And they have sent them to the Wilco. We can get them. But right now we're paying just an enormous amount. And it really just comes down to being very, 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 very careful when you Google search and make sure you're getting to the site that you wanted, because that was a fooler.
I want to back up Bonnie's thing. She did call Wolf Trap to make sure she has tickets, which is great. There's a chance that person is selling those exact same tickets 5, 10, 15, 25, 30 times.
Right.
By Bonnie going all those extra steps, they are likely holding them specifically for her and in her name, but it would not be unlike somebody to sell the exact same tickets 40 times and be able to say, yes, there are tickets.
I have also written to patron services at Wolf Trap reporting the name of the website link, because they might be able to go after them to stop that. I don't know. And the good news is that I did that last night, and today I got an email from them asking when they could call me, Wolf Trap, because they want to talk to me. So I thought that was very responsive on Wolf Trap's part.
Carol, did you have a question?
Well, actually, it's a question I wanted to ask Heidi about this. Clearly, this is your intellectual property, but it's been excellent, and I would love to send it to everybody I know and every organization I'm a part of. May I do that, or would you prefer we just keep it to SAC?
You may, but let me clean up a few things before you do that, because there are some references I make to specific companies, et cetera, that I would want to properly put the registration or trademark on if it's going to multiple places.
Okay, thank
You
you.
know what I mean? To get it properly legally set up, et cetera, accordingly.
Yeah. Well, it has really been informative. Thank you
But
so much. Yeah.
I of course have your email address, Carol. I can send it to
Right.
you in a form to be sent out more regularly.
We are also, Heidi, gonna put it on our YouTube channel and all. Carter
And
should
that's
have
fine, because I
too.
mean, it was me giving the conversation. That's completely different than somebody sending it out blindly.
Okay, well, okay,
Yeah,
all right.
it's different. I'm good.
Okay, I mean, I think your slides will be on it though, too.
I know. Yeah,
Oh, okay, good, good.
we're
Just
good.
wanted-
This is fabulous. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to go start checking all the things.
And I think we should all put it on our calendars to review the slides at least monthly. Or, do the old fashioned thing, go to the store and buy it with cash. Imagine that.
That
Anyway.
means going
so-
somewhere.
So, what I'm going to address Marianne's statement
No,
there.
I know you don't want me to use cash.
When it comes, I did not give a presentation on how to avoid being robbed, right? I did a presentation on scam and fraud abuse. But if you are more of the style of thief that does in fact do physical robbing, it is in fact just so prevalent to only rob the elderly, because especially in today's world, you are the only ones carrying cash.
Mm.
The rest of us are not carrying cash, guys. And that is so, it has unfortunately become such a part of the underworld, the black market, etc., that even for people who may or may not have ever been a thief, except life experience, like, something in their life has happened, and they're only going to be able to feed a child or something if they could just steal $10 kind of thing, or what they wanted to do was be a thief when they grew up. Either way, it is just so well known that the only way you're ever going to get cash is by robbing an elderly person. So I really am against walking around with large things of cash to then go pay in cash. Sorry, Marianne,
Oh,
but I have to give
absolutely.
that warning.
No, and I do not. But to me, to charge $4.75 drives me nuts. So I have a $10, $20 in my wallet to buy a Starbucks or something.
Right. I mean,
wouldn't-
carrying some cash is one thing. Carrying the kind of cash you need to go
Oh, yeah,
shopping
no.
is different.
I wouldn't buy a refrigerator with cash or a car or anything. No, I've known you long enough to know better. It's 3:13, if there are no further questions, I want to thank you all for coming and to remind you that within a week to 2 weeks at the very most, this will be online and you will get the link. Carter will send an announcement that it is available. Next month, which is almost tomorrow, July 26th, we're going to have Wallace Merriman as our speaker. And Wallace is a retired, I call him an Army drill sergeant, but he taught fitness in the Army. And as a retired occupation, he is now a personal trainer and an advocate for good nutrition and things. So I would welcome you to tune in next month, July 26th, and we'll send the reminder. So have a nice 4th of July, hopefully a coolish, it won't be, but a coolish weekend. And again, thank you for coming and we'll keep in touch.